Statistics show that by the age of 18, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 8 boys will be sexually abused. 90% will be abused by someone they know and trust. Without effective intervention, child sexual abuse can cause long-term adverse effects on a victim's entire future.
One of the things I think that people don't realize is that child sex abuse not only affects the child, but entire families. This occurs among people who are known in families, divides families. We know that child sex abuse can have long-term effects, that maybe the child gets better now, but 10 years from now, sees a movie, has a first boyfriend, and these issues reemerge, and the importance of recognizing that victims may have to go back for short-term therapy throughout their life. Not that they're damaged, but rather to help them cope with what has happened to them in the past.
Despite gains made through prevention and awareness initiatives, child sexual abuse continues to occur in communities across every socioeconomic background. Almost as troubling as the abuse itself is the issue of what can happen after a child discloses abuse. In the past, victims were often re-traumatized through a fragmented process that did not consider their needs.
Child abuse cases are very unique and difficult cases to investigate and prosecute. 25 years ago, we simply were not as knowledgeable about child abuse cases and the effect that they had on the child victim. We didn't realize how multiple interviews impacted the child. We didn't realize how the untrained professionals dealing with these children could impact the child. And basically what happened in many cases is these children were being re-victimized by the justice system. Other results too. Certainly, in some cases, the cases suffered and the abuser was not held accountable. And more importantly is, it took longer for that child victim to begin the healing process. We've eliminated a lot of this. We've eliminated this through what we call the MDT, the model that's been really accepted worldwide through our children's advocacy centers and through the National Children's Alliance.
Recognizing the need for a new way to treat these cases, communities came together in the mid-1980s to create an innovative, child-focused, and child-friendly response. This multidisciplinary team approach to treating child abuse serves as the model for the now 700 centers that exist across the country. Last year alone, these centers helped more than 250,000 children begin to heal.
The multidisciplinary team is at the heart of the coordination of services for the Children's Advocacy Center. In our case here in Miami, it includes the Child Welfare Agency, which is the Department of Children and Families that does the investigation, the Children and Special Needs Unit, which is a part of the State Attorney's Office that does the forensic interviewing of the child telling his or her story. We have the mental health portion, which is, and the case coordination, case management, which is Christie House, making sure that the mental health needs of the child and family are met. We have the law enforcement, which is responsible for the prosecution of the perpetrator. We have Rape Treatment Center and the Child Protection Team, which is responsible for the mental health component, and Christie House, which is responsible for the therapeutic and case management, case coordination services. All these agencies come together to work to make sure that the children are safe and that their needs are being met.
By utilizing a coordinated and comprehensive approach, children's advocacy centers support children and their families as they cope with the trauma of sexual abuse by helping them understand the system and make the most of needed resources and services.
The Children's Advocacy Center brought my family and I a renewed sense of peace and hope when we walked in that day. I walked in feeling hopeless, unsafe, and was welcomed with people that welcomed us with open arms, understood us, and gave me a renewed sense of being able to trust somebody again and share my story. They gave my family and I a place to share our story and begin the healing process.
The benefits of children's advocacy centers are numerous, both to the victim and their families and the community as a whole.
When there's a Children's Advocacy Center in a community, that community can be absolutely certain that abused children are not falling through the cracks in the system, and that the multidisciplinary professionals that work with them are collaborating and cooperating to their benefit, and that the interventions that they're receiving are proven and effective.
The efforts of children's advocacy centers are proving that with proper intervention, management, and care, victims of abuse can not only heal, but thrive.
There is a sense of safety and security for the child. There is a seamless transition from one program, one agency to the next. So wherever the child is within that part of the team, there is a sense of respect, there's a sense of trust, there's a sense of security, and there's a sense of safety. So the team comes together to make sure that that child need and the family needs are being met in a safe, secure environment.
The CAC was the foundation of my healing that allowed me to understand that there are people out there that understand and care for you. There are people that will help you begin to heal your life and the tools to move forward and work through the flashbacks, the nightmares that nagged and haunted me daily, and begin to take back your life. And they allowed me to understand that I had nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to blame myself for. Something that once consumed me freed me of that and gave me this renewed sense of hope and peace for my future, and no longer holding on to a past that was constantly haunting me. And without the Children's Advocacy Center, I feel I would not be the person I am today.
And while countless children have been helped by children's advocacy centers, there are still more than 1,000 communities across the nation that lack access to these vital services. The National Children's Alliance was founded to not only support existing children's advocacy centers, but help promote and establish new centers.
The mission of National Children's Alliance is to empower local communities to respond to child victims, and we do that in several ways. One is by funding them to ensure their sustainability. We want to know that those high-quality services and important services are going on year after year. Secondly, we accredit them. And that's important because we want to know that children are receiving the highest quality services and getting on the path to hope and healing quickly.
Because children's advocacy centers are community-based programs, the Alliance encourages the very members of these communities to work together to help victims through their local CAC.
The first and most important thing that they can do is to break the silence around child abuse, to educate themselves and others about what can be done to help child abuse victims. But they can also both donate and volunteer through their local Children's Advocacy Center.
To find out more about children's advocacy centers, please visit nationalchildren'salliance.org.